real high-class stuff. It's on. It's on.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast here on Boss Rush Games. Next Gen is here. Next Gen is here. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Kerrigan. Alongside me, as always, is the last gen hopeful, the wise Wisconsinite, Mr. Jesse Douglas.
How's it going, everyone?
Also joining us is Colonel Panic himself, Joe Wilson.
Yeah, last gen's on eBay right now for me, so
Nice.
It's official. I've moved on.
Nice. Also, last but not least, is our lore archivist, Mr. X and S, Josh Finney.
Yeah, I left Last Gen behind a couple of days ago after going to multiple GameStops and finally getting them to take my consoles.
Oh my gosh.
Take my console.
So
Okay, no, listen. I'm so mad. I'm still upset about this, okay? Because
share
I
your
went in
story.
there.
This is where
I went into the first. I go into the first GameStop, okay? Place I've gone for years. I've done multiple orders at. Done business with them for like 5-6 years, right? And the guy at the counter, after I get everything unpacked, after he's hooked up the consoles, he looks at the controllers, he goes, "Oh yeah, I can't take this. These have cosmetic damage to them." And I was like, "Cosmetic damage?" He goes, "Yeah, these are unsellable." And I looked at it and I was like, "Okay, my thumbsticks are a little worn. Like that's to be expected when you use the same controller for 4 years."
Mhm.
And then he shows me my Halo one and he goes, "Yeah, this is unsellable too." And I was like, "On what grounds? Show me." There's no damage to that controller whatsoever. There was like a little scuff mark on the underside of my thumbstick. So he's like, "Yeah, I can't take these." He's like, "You're going to have to buy 2 new controllers to go with them." And he's like, "Our cheapest controller is $40 or like 45 or something like that." I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
I'm good. I'll hold on to these." I literally looked up. I was like, "Somebody on eBay will take these."
Also,
And-
I've bought stuff from GameStop before.
Yeah.
Nothing is unsellable.
Yeah, I was going to say, has he
I'm
ever looked at
saying-
anything inside
I'm
a GameStop
saying-
before?
No. It gets better. So I go to the GameStop down the street, right? Because, I mean, it's Dallas Fort Worth. There's one on like every street corner. It's like almost as frequent as 7-Eleven and McDonald's.
Ooh.
So I go in there, and the guy's unpacking them, and he gets to the white controller, and he just kind of looks at me, looks at it, looks at me, looks down. And I was like, "Yeah, do I need to buy a new controller? Like, just tell me now, because if I do, I'm going to walk out that door." And he's like, No. He's like, "What would be wrong with it?" And so I explained to him what I just told y'all about the previous GameStop, and he's like, "All right, so I'm going to play a game." He goes, "I'm going to describe the guy who said this to you, and you tell me if I'm right." So he describes it, like, right down to, like, facial features, and I was like, "Yeah, that's him." He goes, "Oh, yeah, we get complaints about that guy, like, daily. He's always got some reason why he won't take something, or he won't do like a ship to home order or something for people. He hounds them to renew their power up rewards, or like get the protection plan on discs, and like if you don't do it, like he keeps pressing it on you." He's like, it gets better." That guy's the manager of that store,
That
apparently.
makes sense. Yeah.
So I was like, "Well, that's cool. He's lost my business forever, even though it's been a reliable store in the past. I'm coming here if I have to go to a GameStop." And the guy just looks at me. This is the creme de la creme. He goes, "Dude, honestly," he's like, "just do what we do. Buy off Amazon." So the moral of the story, kids, is if you want to trade in a console, try to sell it on eBay first, or on Facebook Marketplace, or Craigslist, literally anywhere but GameStop. I only went there instead of my mom and pop shop because they gave me $230 for the Halo 5 Xbox and the 2 terabyte 1S. Yeah, I got $230 total, which not bad. I don't know how much more I would have honestly made on eBay. And the last thing I need is someone being like, "Oh, you sent me a defective console. You sent me a defective controller," especially for the limited edition one. So whatever. I got them offloaded. I bought a $200 headset that I now need to take back to the store. It's fantastic.
What headset?
I got the SteelSeries 9X
Ooh. Nice.
Oh, why did you have to take it back?
because I want the 7X.
Oh, okay.
I don't want the fancier, more expensive one. I'd rather have the other $60 in my pocket.
Yeah.
Because I'm cheap.
No, it makes sense.
And
Fair.
they didn't have the 7X in stock at any GameStop, but they had it online, so I'm going to take it in there and be like, "I wanted the 7X." I told this to the checkout man very clearly. but he was also taking 2 consoles that might or might not have been sellable. So I'm not going to
Questionable.
argue. And I took the upsell to make him feel good.
Do you ever feel like when you
But I
go
want
into
my money back.
when you go into GameStop, like the People's Court theme starts to play, like doo doo, and you're just
I feel like I'm gonna walk in there and like Judge Alex is gonna be sitting there one of these days.
oh, they have a gavel and like, what are you trying to sell today? And be like, I got these 3 consoles, and be like, let's hear from the defendant. Be like, wait, what defendant?
Yeah, right. It's like I feel like I'm on trial because I'm trying to give you the products I bought from you back.
Yeah.
That's
And I'm
awesome.
gonna spend the money. Like the way I tried phrasing it with that manager was, I was like, dude, if you take these, I swear to God, I'm gonna spend every single penny in your store right now, and probably a little extra because I want more than what this trade value is gonna cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No dice. He still wouldn't do it. That man would have made a
That's-
profit of almost $100 off of me.
Yeah. It's not going to cut it. He's got to make at
Phil
least
Spencer
300.
is upset about this partnership, and so is Reggie.
To be fair, they're the ones that made the deal in the first place.
I know.
So-
So I was rather upset. Anyways, that's my story. But hey, next gen is here, baby. Both consoles are in this house.
So-
the X and the S.
I have a story to tell now.
Oh Christ.
hear it.
Target didn't even ship mine until Tuesday, and the original. I know. I feel like everybody that got a console from Target is very upset. Has been very upset this week. Although anybody who's getting one off of Amazon, sorry Jesse, is also very upset. So,
The panic that went through my brain when I started seeing the cancellation emails go out or the delay emails, I was like, oh God, please no. Please not me. Please not me. I get
Yeah.
confirmation that it is shipped. I'm celebrating. And then I check the group chat.
mhm.
And I was like, oh no. Oh, I'm keeping this to myself. I'm not going to post pictures of it with me. I'm not going to make a birth announcement about it. I'm just going to be normal.
Jesse messaged me. He's like, "Have you heard anything about my Xbox yet?" I'm like, "No." Literally 10 minutes later, I get the email from Amazon that said, "Well, we're working really hard to get you your console. What'd they say? That we're quite confident that you'll get your console before December 31st."
Yeah, they're like, yeah, you could get it by the 30
I'm
as
just
late
saying,
as
I
December
think they looked
31st.
at they looked at my Twitch Prime profile and they're like, all right, this motherfucker has spent a lot of Bezos bucks with us. We better get him that console.
I spend a lot of Bezos bucks too. I give that man my left testicle every year. Like, let me just,
Yeah.
but
Glad
But-
you're the right one. It's still safe and secure.
yeah,
I
well,
pay for Amazon Prime and I barely even use it. So they should be kissing. They should be not only kissing but licking my ass.
Whoa.
whatever
It's
you're.
20. Listen, it's
Hey.
2020. Okay.
Okay. Target shipped mine, and they I was originally not supposed to get it till tomorrow, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna have a console to talk about on our podcast on Sunday, and I'm the freaking host. It's gonna be terrible. I'm gonna have to rely on Joe and Josh.
You would have just had to like turn it over to me and Joe. It's just gonna be a 2-man show tonight.
Yeah. But then it updated on Friday and said, oh, it's coming on Saturday. So I'm like, okay. I know, and it was going to my parents' house. I'm like, great. I'm going to have to drive like 30 minutes there and 30 minutes home. Whatever. It's fine. 30 minutes, 30 minutes. They said, my parents said FedEx usually comes to our house between 9:30 and 11. I'm like, great. I'm going to get it. I'm going to go early to my parents. I'm going to get it. I'm going to come home, set it all up while my kid's napping and my wife goes shopping or whatever. It's going to be great. Just going to set it all up. It'll be done Saturday night. Boom. Destiny. Gears Tactics. Let's go.
So that was a lie.
Yes, it was. At 1:30, I still haven't heard from my parents. So I'm like, all right, wife, I'm going to my
They
parents'
opened
house.
it and they're playing it.
Yeah.
You get there and they're playing it like, oh, this is awesome.
I mean, my dad's reaction, he was kind of interested. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, Tuesday I got my controller and I got everything else on Tuesday, right? Everything else came. I'm like, all right, I'm ready. By the way, side tangent. Thank God the new controllers use this damn Type-E keyboard thing that I'm never going to use because it helps me so much.
I'm so glad that you bought the Sega Conspiracy Blue controller, Corey.
I
It's
know.
a nice looking controller. It
It
really
is.
is, though.
It is. I'm gonna get another
Oh,
one.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying the shade of it is exactly the same shade as the fucking Sega logo,
Yeah.
which is hilarious.
Wouldn't it be funny if this week Xbox buys Sega?
No, it wouldn't be
Be
because
awesome.
I don't want to have a monopoly conversation.
No, I
next
need
week.
a Sonic versus Banjo versus Conker game right now.
Versus
Anyways.
Master Chief.
It's
Yeah.
called
Sequence.
Super Smash Brothers, Corey. We already have 2 of those guys in there.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Anyways, on Saturday, I get to my parents' house at like 2:00. My mom offers me lunch, which is very nice, but I told her I already ate lunch. And then she offers me lunch like 4 or 5 more times. I'm like, I literally ate 2 sandwiches and like half of a family-sized bag of nachos and salsa before I got here. Okay? Not hungry. Not hungry. So we sit there, and I'm like going through some of the stuff at my parents' house. I brought home my Halo Reach statue and my Marcus Phoenix Gears 3 statue. So they're now safely secured on my shelf. So that was nice. Also, I have 2 huge Gears Lancers in my car right now. Don't really know what to do with them.
You need to have them so that they cross like this, like that they're hitting into each other, like when they're doing the chainsaw thing, and mounted above some like a fireplace or something.
Well, one is the Gears 2 regular Lancer, and the other one is the Retro Lancer from Gears 3. So I don't really know where to put them. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But I brought those home. I have a bunch of other crap. I'm sitting there. I'm waiting. It's like 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock rolls around. FedEx guy finally rolls up. By the way, at 10 till 2, I passed the FedEx guy on the next street over from my parents. Okay, I'm like, great. Got to be like 2 or 3 stops. Here we go. No, like 2.5 hours later, he rolls up to my parents' house. I'm like, Jesus. I go to the door. The box looks thin and long. My first reaction was, oh no, they sent me an Xbox One. And I take the package from the guy, and I'm like, oh no, this is not nearly heavy enough. And I'm like, oh my God, they sent me an Xbox One. I was about to freak out on Target. I open it up. No, Series X, good to go.
Corey was fully prepared to go full Karen.
Yeah. Oh, I was. Oh. Yeah.
He would have called the guy from Best Buy that tried to assist him with his matter last week just for good measure.
Which one? I've called 7 times. Still haven't got my refund, by the way.
That's something's
Really?
wrong.
Yeah, from Best Buy. So tomorrow, my whole lunch break will be on hold at Best Buy. But
Yeah.
I got it. I opened it at my parents' house. There's pictures of me hugging this box, opening it up, showing it off to my parents who have no idea what this box is, why I care so much about it, you know? And then I brought it home, hooked it up, got all my games transferred over, and then I'm like, I gotta try out Gears Tactics. I'm like, all right, 4K, got some ray tracing, quick loads, whatever. I don't know what they did to this game, but I'm ready to play it. Oh, there's an update. Gotta download the update. You want the update? Download the update? Update? You want the update? Yeah, I want the update. Click on it. I'm like, oh no. I'm gonna have to do this with every single game. So I just played Destiny, but that was my Series X story. Joe, you got a cool story to tell?
Mine was really uneventful. I called GameStop the day before just to verify because the status kept like changing and being like, it's like waiting product. It'd be like preparing for pickup. And it just kept bouncing back and forth. So I call and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna pick up an Xbox tomorrow. I just want to make sure it's here and then I can come pick it up tomorrow. And the guy's like, yep, I see you right here. And I gave him no information. So he apparently just like read the phone number off the caller ID. And I'm like, do you need anything? And he's like, Joe Wilson, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, yep, it's here. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I literally meet my friend that morning he wanted to buy one of my monitors that I'm getting rid of, which I have way too many. So I went and met him for like breakfast at Panera, sold that to him, drove, picked up my console, came in, plugged it in, picked up a pizza on the way home for lunch.
A whole pizza for lunch, huh?
Oh, I ate a whole pizza. It was delicious.
That's
It was
awesome.
a great day.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
and then literally plugged it in. It did the little thing through the app. It was super easy to set it up. Just didn't transfer anything. Just downloaded Destiny fresh, and then just been playing mostly Destiny. It was very uneventful and very exciting, and I had like kind of the whole day to myself.
That's awesome.
To do it. It was a very pleasant day.
Yeah, the whole like setup process was like super. It was exciting when I plugged it in and I opened it and it said, "Hi, welcome to Xbox," and then it said, "Use your phone app to set up," and it was like very uneventful. And then it just popped up and it looked like I was playing my Xbox One again. I'm like, oh,
it just did it.
Okay.
Just
Well,
there was that moment where it's like, do you want to import your old settings or do you want to get new ones? And I was like, I kind of want to get new ones. I was like, but also, why? What do I want to do? I want to go and set up
Right.
the resolution
Mhm.
again. It's like, just take them.
When I get mine, I'm gonna pick my settings I already have because I have like all those pins and stuff on my and folders on my main screen thing to flip through, and I don't want to go through adding all those games to the designated pins again.
yeah.
Pages, because
By the way, Xbox Series X still does not automatically update my games. Just
It
like
did
my
ask
Xbox
me
One.
again too.
Yeah.
It was like, it's like, do you want to do this or this? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make sure I pick this time, but it still doesn't seem to happen.
Yeah. I'm like, this is like the one feature that I need to work, and it doesn't work
Yeah,
on
I
either
don't-
console.
yeah, and I don't know what's up with that, because it used to work for me all the time. Like, I never have had to worry about it. It's within the last like couple of updates of the UI.
Yeah. It used to work for me all the time. And then when we got this, like the new one, it's when it stopped working. Like the
Yeah.
current
So
one.
I just wonder if there's, I don't know.
Let me tell you as well that Call of Duty, specifically Warzone, every time I go into that game, it like loads into the menu, does the thing, and then it like at some point it's just like, hey, unable to connect to server. So I hit OK, and then it's like reload the page, and then it's like, hey, an update's required, and it's like kicks you to the main menu, and then it's
Yeah.
like a progress bar just goes applying update, and it just immediately goes, and it's like, and then I have to go through the whole thing again.
Yep.
And someone has to be able to figure that out. That before the game launches, that it just looks to see if it needs to do anything with an update or refresh itself, and just
Mhm.
do it. The same way that
Yeah.
whenever you quit out of Destiny, or like you stop playing Destiny for the day, then you come back in and you load in, and it's like, oh, we couldn't, you got kicked because you weren't able to do whatever. Like, just
Yeah.
like, I don't know anybody that when they're done playing Destiny that they go to like the loads their ghost, and then it's like, okay, I'm gonna go to my settings, I'm gonna log out, and I'm gonna quit playing. Like, no one does. Maybe someone does. I can't imagine it though. Like,
Yeah,
someone's got to
That-
be able to figure out live games and have a way that I don't have to get an error message every time I boot in again.
yep. That's been plaguing the Call of Duty franchise for 4 or 5 games now. That's happened, where every single time you start up the game, it always will. It like literally, you could play it on Thursday night and then boot it up on Friday afternoon, and it will tell you that it needs to update. It is ridiculous. I don't get why they do it. But yeah, like every single Call of Duty game for the last like couple of years now has done that, where every time you load that game up, it's got to update every single time you play it, and it's stupid. And I don't get it.
Yeah. I don't get it either. But well, I guess since we're kind of just talking about this Series X and S. By the way, Josh, you tell us
By the
about
way, Corey,
tell us about this Series S, because we're all talking about the Series X, but you're the only one that got a Series S so far.
so I mean, it largely works the exact same. The comparison I would make is definitely, I mean, it's a bigger gulf, obviously, but the 1X to the 1S, I think that's an apt comparison here. It's definitely not as powerful because it can put out at 4K on certain games, I guess, if it tries really, really hard. But the benchmark is 1440, obviously. Some games are even going to go 1080 so they can get that 60 frames in. which I think is pretty awesome. Like Chelsea was playing Sea of Thieves earlier, and I was watching her play it, and it looks so fluid on there. Like it's just like I would have booted it up on my X, except the X has the 4K. I think the biggest thing is just, man, the fast load and quick resume work on it really, really well. Almost parity with Series X. It's definitely a worthy machine, not just for people who are picking up to have an Xbox as a second console or as a Game Pass machine, but I think like in general, it's a really, really worthy budget conscious alternative to entering this ecosystem. It's awesome. The digital only thing, like it doesn't bother me as much now seeing it up close. I mean, this is such a small console. It's like two controllers wide. That's it. Like it's so small. I love the small form factor of that. The X was smaller than I thought it was going to be. I love it. I love just the design team. Hats off to you, man.
Yeah. I'm probably going to try to get an S at some point for I was thinking the Office, but I think an S would be fine in the living room and leave my X in the office on this awesome monitor to take full capability, like full, whatever.
I definitely love that streaming media on it too also puts out at 4K, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Not that we have a 4K TV in there, but even on a 1080p TV, it looks incredible.
Yeah. I still have my Xbox One X hooked up in my office for like just for the streaming stuff right now. Because like sometimes like the Browns played today and I was sitting in my office and I was like, okay, well, I'll watch the Browns while I work on some stuff, and it was kind of nice. So we have some questions about these boxes. We'll answer in the doc. We'll answer the pre-show questions last, and we'll answer the Xbox questions now because it's relevant. Deshaun Malone, our friend Deshaun Malone, our friend, our buddy, our pal.
We love Deshaun.
He says, "Hey y'all, I got my Series S, and I gotta say, this little box is so powerful. All my games run like a dream. What are y'all's thoughts on the S? Josh, you kind of said yours thoughts already. I've been watching a lot of people who are using their S's on YouTube. Like, I know Paris Lily had a really good thing about the S. A couple other people did. Like, it's making me more and more like really want this box just to have one. My cousin got one too. He loves it. He's like, man, just switching between like 2 or 3 games at a time is like, it's so awesome. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty nice. So.
And like they've been saying too, that since you've got smaller files being loaded, that some games actually load faster on it. So just because of the fact that it's not having to load 4K assets, which is fine, but I feel like just from what I've seen so far and stuff, and people posting that, like it's. I mean, you could get a little bit faster. We're not quite to cartridge, but fast. But it's it's pretty fast. You don't have to wait for things much anymore.
Yeah. I mean, on my X, I loaded up Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I timed it on before I got the box. I took some notes, loaded up some games that I usually play. Destiny took a little over 2 minutes to load into. It took me less than 30 seconds to get to the character select screen and load into the game. I was like, man, this is awesome. Assassin's Creed Odyssey took me about 19 seconds as opposed to a little under a minute, which was awesome. Those are kind of the big two. Gears 5 loaded up almost instantly after the splash screens. I think it took like 7 or 8 seconds, so that was pretty awesome too. So I mean, load times are awesome. Switching between those games, just quick resume, whatever, takes like 5 seconds.
I would say that's probably the biggest selling point to me for an S is if you don't have the budget for an X, you can save $200, or if this could be your second console, and like PS5 is going to be your main one, where you're playing like all your third parties, but you want to get in on Game Pass. You want to play those Microsoft exclusives, maybe some Halo when it comes out. The only real knock I think I have on the Series S is the hard drive. I do think that once you load the OS on there, having only 360 gigs is pretty bad. I mean, we're sitting here, because I'm one of those who is very critical of, even though there's new tech in it, of the PS5s. After the UI, you only have like 520 something, I think. And I'm like, that's simply not enough. Like 1 terabyte, even without the UI on it, is still not enough in today's day and age. I understand why that's the highest you can go at launch, so as to not charge your customers a ton. These are, NVMe 4, but still, it's bad. I'm going to be buying one of those expansion cards pretty soon, I think. It's also made me be really selective with what I put on both consoles. On hers right now, we just have Sea of Thieves, Destiny, and Minecraft installed, and that's already taken up a third of the hard drive.
Yeah, I think I have
just those 3 things.
I did get an expansion card, and I'm really happy that I did. But I've been really picky and choosy on which games go on which drive. Like, the games I'm going to play a lot are going on the internal drive, like Destiny, Gears, Halo. Sea of Thieves is on that drive. Like, my main games are going on the internal drive. The external drive, I'm putting on the single player games that I have interest in playing within the next 3 to 6 months. And then my external drive, like my external USB drive that I use for my Xbox One X, is just my 360 and original Xbox games, which is slim. But I've been really selective about what I'm putting on this thing now. But
I only play a handful of games at one time anymore. So like, I loaded up with pretty much everything that I would normally load on my Xbox and I just put the drive. I have the expansion drive too, so I'm not really crammed on space. The downside is that the 3 of the games that I play regularly are almost 200 gigs each. I guess Destiny just got a lot smaller.
But it'll grow.
It'll grow. We talked about Call of Duty's, like right now. Call of Duty right now is 230 gigs on my drive, and I have the Master Chief Collection, which is around 120, 130, and I have Destiny on there. So I mean, that would basically kill my internal drive if that's all I had, and I just don't feel comfortable operating with no wiggle room, because those games aren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
If I had to, I'm not going to move them back and forth. And I'm not going to uninstall and reinstall every.
Yeah, and that's the exact reason why I have not reinstalled Master Chief Collection. As much as I want to play it, 117 gigs. That's a hard pill for me to swallow right now.
And it's probably going to grow this week.
Yeah.
I know, which is why it's an even harder pill to swallow.
Here are the games I have on my internal drive, and I have 212 gigs left. I have Crosscode, I have Destiny 2, Forza Horizon 4, Gears 5, Gears Tactics, Halo 5, Halo Master Chief Collection, Monster Hunter, Ori, Planet Coaster, Sea of Thieves, and Tetris.
I mean, my only notable games are Horizon 4, Gears 5, Will of Wisps, Star Wars Squadrons, and Destiny 2. Other than that, every game, the only other like 3 or 4 games I have are all 5 gigs or under. And I've used up over a third of my drive, just barely. But still, like, next gen, like when the next gen update for Destiny comes and when it comes for Master Chief Collection, like, I'm terrified. I'm absolutely terrified for how big those are going to be.
Yeah. Master Chief Collection especially, because that's going to be, I feel like that's going to be a pretty big update.
There's part of me that wants to get an S just so I can stream with my capture card, because anytime you're thinking about a capture card, they're all USB 2.0, so you're compromising in some way. And I play mostly shooters, so any of those shooters that Destiny's going to be 120 for Crucible, Master Chief Collection is going to be 120. Call of Duty's 120 right now, frames per second. Those are all things that I wouldn't be able to do if I were to play at 4K. So part of me really wants to get an S dump those games all onto my external drive and then bounce back and forth. But then I don't think I'd ever play those games on my big TV because, again, if I'm playing competitive, I want the frames, I want that smaller TV.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where I'm at. I really want to have a reason to buy an S, but I don't think I truly have one.
Yeah. Well, I don't either. I just, it's for all the same reasons that you said, like the streaming box, put 3 or 4 games on this and just let it sit there, or use and swap the external drive back and forth between the two consoles.
$300 is just such a great price point.
I know.
For a brand new console that can do so much for so many people.
I know. It's just, man, I want, like, it would be a streaming box. It would be the box that I stream from, and it would give me more motivation to stream so I don't keep having to carry this box back and forth.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is there's, like, especially with a lot of people, like me, I've adopted playing on a monitor. I haven't played an Xbox on a TV in years now. Like I just can't. I just don't. Like I just don't like the latency of the TV, and it's just not as great. And the thing right now is, if you have the Series S, you have a lot of options for monitors for that can handle anything and everything that can do. And I mean, yes, the Series X as well, but there's like little to no monitors that do 4K at 120, and 120 frames per second. Some of them may do 120 hertz, but I don't even know if they actually have a 2.1 USB, and stuff, or not USB, but HDMI. But so, like, that's the thing is, like, I was trying to look and see, like, because I would like to get a different monitor for the Series X, something that can actually, like, let me do everything to its full potential. Mm-hmm. And I'm having a hard time finding anything. It's like only TVs really right now that are available.
Just get the monitor that Joe recommended me, and Amazon will send you the better one.
Yeah,
you can't guarantee that.
I wish. Yeah. Well, I mean, my monitor that I have is still considered, like, they rank it like anywhere from 4th to like 3rd place, and like, the best monitor to get for a Series X, or like I've checked like different things online, and like the one I have supposedly is fine. I mean, it does HDMI, it has FreeSync, which you don't want G-Sync because the Xbox doesn't support that. You're not going to get the best out of that, and you're going to notice tearing and stuff like that happening if you don't have that. But yeah, so I don't know. I guess we'll see once I actually get mine, like whether maybe I won't need anything more, but
yeah. We have a couple more questions here. Oh crap, where'd it go? All right. Brian Plubner? He says, what was the first game you booted up on the console? Destiny. Because it was the one that was done first.
Destiny.
Yeah.
Joe and I got ours with the expansion literally dropping. I played the first mission on my 1S before we all got booted to Orbit. Everybody playing, something like 400 or 500,000 of us all got kicked to Orbit at the same time. I just waited for my Series X at that point. It got here maybe an hour later, and I just was like, all right, well, I'm going to install this. Forget it. I'm not going back to my 1S now. And oh man, you just can't back after that fast.
Yeah, you cannot go back. Like I have a couple games still on my Xbox One X, and I was like trying to see, like, oh my gosh, dude, the load times, like, can't go back.
So bad.
The uneven frame rates. No.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
I'm already spoiled.
I'm like, how did you do that? Like, how did I play on this? You know? Ugh.
So
It's like when I went back and I played 007 on the N64 and like explosions went off and the frame rate dropped to like 1 frame per second.
Oh, you were playing the
And I'm like,
slideshow with the explosion.
I was like, yeah, how the hell did we ever enjoy this?
all you
But
need.
I do have one question for you guys. Let's say they gave you some kind of like thing that would like you could plug that new hard drive, the proprietary one.
Yeah.
Like they gave you something you could actually plug that into, hook it into your Xbox One X and start loading stuff onto that, preloading stuff onto that before you got your Series X. Like would if there was a way that they could have did that, would that have made it worth the $200?
Network. Your network's
Yeah,
gonna be
your-
a better option because your
Yeah.
bottleneck is your Xbox than not that
Yeah.
drive.
Yeah.
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 Well, but I mean, yeah, like however you want to, but like that would have been cool if there was a way that you could actually preload through your old console,
Gotcha.
preload the new,
I mean, you kind of
the Series X versions of those games onto that drive before,
Yeah.
and then plug it in, and then you've already got those things on it.
yeah. I wasn't
Too bad
anticipating.
they couldn't have figured a way to do something like that.
I was not anticipating those updates to be that big, though. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I knew they were going to be like, okay, they're going to be probably a couple gigs, probably maybe 10, but I wasn't expecting Gears to be like basically.
Sea of
down-
Thieves is like 33
Yeah.
on top of the 15 that it already is.
Yeah, it was.
I'm
They were big. So,
I'm gonna be honest with you though. I wonder if it will continue to be like this, or
well, I
if
mean,
it's
at this
just
point,
because these games technically aren't made for that console. Yes,
Yeah.
they are that console's version, but they're not actually made for that console.
well,
like
theoretically, anything you buy now on this box, you'll just download that version of the game and not have to do the
Yeah.
update. So,
yeah.
I mean, Jesse, when you go to update Watch Dogs, that'll probably be like, okay, this is what's happening now, but it won't ever.
Yeah.
After you make that transfer, it's not going to be this bad again.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, no, which is and that's
I mean, not
the
that it was-
first game I'm gonna download.
Not that it was
Because I
bad. It
cannot
only
wait.
took me like a day to update everything, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
I played Destiny. I left my Xbox on all night and day to update the rest of the stuff, and like everything was ready to go tonight by like 5:00. So I mean, you just
and
got to
to
make
be
sure.
fair, anytime I've gotten a new phone, it's taken me about a whole day to get it all completely, up to snuff the way I want it. Have everything re-downloaded on it or whatever. Make sure all my contacts are there. Make sure everything's logged in. Make sure, So I mean, I completely, get it at this point. Like getting a phone a couple of times throughout my life now, I've kind of gotten accustomed to this kind of thing with technology of just like having to basically waste a whole day just to get it to where you want it.
I got a new phone too.
Oh,
Oh, did you?
I did.
Did you finally get it all updated?
Yeah. It was. I mean, I don't know how long it took or anything like that, but I got the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, whatever the biggest one is.
Oh, okay.
nice.
Insert adjectives here.
Yeah.
Adjective,
Yeah.
adjective, adjective.
iPhone adjective.
Did it
Yeah.
come with the Game Pass loaded on it?
No, I wish. Man, that's the one thing that I will like. It's such a bummer that I can have the Apple TV app on my Xbox, but I can't have like games from my Xbox on my iPhone. Like,
Yeah.
just guys, come on.
Yeah. Well, so that's the thing actually that I was wondering. So like, can you not have the Xbox app on there at all?
The Xbox app is fine. The Game Pass app is
Okay.
fine. It's specifically the xCloud
Game streaming
service
app.
game streaming
Okay.
that I can't have.
Okay, because
Yeah.
because the XCloud and all that is done through the Game Pass app,
Right.
on Android.
Mhm.
And you can actually stream like from your console through the Xbox app though.
Yeah,
You have to use the regular Xbox.
You can
app
do that
to
on.
stream.
You can do
Yeah,
remote.
You can do
play.
that on.
I can
Yeah.
do remote
Okay.
play.
I got
Okay,
the
good.
I
At
got
least you can do because I mean that's kind of nice is just being able to play any of the games you own from home on there.
yeah.
Honestly, as
And
I use more.
I don't go anywhere anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I do.
Yeah.
I did get a clip. I did buy a clip this weekend for my phone to play.
Yeah.
Because I'll be able to play the games while we're watching TV or something. I'll just pop it on my. Like if I need to grind out a quest in Destiny or something, that phone clip will be just fine. I'm not
Yeah.
worried about, super fidelity to do some patrols or something. Not that I'm gonna go in there and go flawless in trials on my phone clip, but
You might.
it could.
Yeah,
You
I
don't
mean, the only thing that does suck is I do wish that you could change the field of view.
I mean, you will be able to soon.
You could do it on the new
Yeah.
Call of Duty. You can change the field of view.
Yeah.
Okay,
You'll be able to
because
do
yeah,
that.
like when you're playing it on your phone, that screen can get pretty minuscule. Like trying to see what you're doing.
But I mean, you don't want to play Call of Duty on your streaming from your Xbox to your phone. Because
Yeah.
it's a single player.
Yeah.
We do have one more question here. Ashley Davidson writes in and says, how does it compare to the 1S and 1X? What games show this off the most?
I think the actual Xbox interface is right now probably the best showcase of the difference between the 1S and the 1X.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say everything is really
Yeah.
snappy and like I can actually see what updates that need to happen since they won't do it automatically. I can actually go in and see which ones are
one thing I
there.
will say, I think that Forza Horizon 4 clearly looks better on the Series X over the Series S. The Series S feels like it's a little bit more of a polished up version of the 1S and 1X versions. Series X plays, looks, and handles like it's a brand new game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I do
It's fantastic.
I do want to say the stuff I've seen from Assassin's Creed Valhalla looks really great
Yeah.
too. I haven't played it yet. I would like to play it soon. I mean, I was like, my excitement started like way up here, and then over time it just kind of went down, 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 down. And now that I see people playing it, it's like going right back up, and I'm like, oh gosh.
For me, like comparing like how like Miles Morales and stuff looks on the PS5 and comparing Watch Dogs playing at 4K, 60 with ray tracing on Xbox Series X, like it looks phenomenal. Like in my opinion, so far from what I've seen of games playing on the Series X, like the Watch Dogs definitely showcases the power of the ray tracing and all that stuff all in that game. Like, it's not running at only 30 frames per second. It's not, to get that ray tracing. It's actually doing 4K 60 and getting ray tracing. Like it's,
Is it running at 60 on this Series X?
I believe so. Because well, I mean, according to the like the videos that I've been watching, they say that it was 4K 60 with ray tracing. Let me check, but I could have swore that that's what they had in the thing. But anyways, like either way, I mean, like that game just like you walk past windows and I'm playing it on the regular 1X, and like when you walk up to a car window, it's just a gray like stupid looking thing that you can't see any reflection in. But you go on there and like every single window in the entire city is just like reflecting everything that's outside of it, and it just looks phenomenal. That game, it just looks awesome. Every puddle, you can see the reflections of things in it, like cars as they're driving over them, and it just looks awesome.
It's so weird that this generation getting a new console. I specifically remember when I got like my PlayStation 4, I was like jonesing or like hard, like I was just searching for like new games to look at. Any game, I think any X or PlayStation launch game that came out on that generation, I bought just to like, I want to see what this looks like. I want to see what this looks like. I want to see what that. And like I had like 5 or 6 games that I purchased that like I played maybe 25% of. A couple of them I finished, and I would say this is the first generation that I would say that I'm content that I was more excited to go back and play the games that I already play, which is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I wanna see if the AI learning stuff, like if that improves how something like my favorite game, Far Cry 5 looks. Like I'm curious how those games that no one's really thinking about, like showing off or talking about, that that I loved, on this last generation, and just because the Xbox has that ability to make things look better without them actually having to do any work on it per se, by devs or whatever, is what makes me interested most on like testing things on it.
I'm actually downloading the Gears Ultimate Edition, the remake of the first game, because that was like the game they were pushing that this AI was gonna, do stuff with. So,
yeah.
I'll probably talk a little bit about that next week. But that's, that, like you said, that's the game that they were pushing, that this AI was gonna like change to auto HDR and 60 frames a second and that kind of stuff. So, actually, we do have a couple more questions. A couple from Twitter. I think one's a jokey one. I'm not gonna lie, unless anybody did try this. Jeff James from what were you gonna say, Jesse?
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, it is 30 frames per second on Xbox too, but that's the thing, is it's so hard. Some of those videos, they're saying stuff that isn't true on it, just I think to get attention.
Yeah. Like
there was someone claiming that, like Spider-Man was running at 4K 60 frames, with ray tracing, and it's like, no, from what I heard, that isn't possible.
Yeah.
But so it's hard to.
All right. So Jeff James from the Diggity Podcast, he says, when vaped in, can it indeed produce a vape-nado?
You're done. You're not allowed to ask any more questions. Thank you for your submission.
He's Canadian. He doesn't know any better.
Oi! You're not allowed to ask any more questions. Unless you send me authentic Canadian maple syrup.
I did not vape into my Xbox, and Xbox has tweeted out that you should not vape into your Xbox. So
yes.
I really hate that we're dumb enough as a human race that we had to tweet that out.
Yeah.
It does not make me hopeful for the next generation.
Yeah. So,
well, the worst part about it is people that are so desperate to try to make the Series X look bad that they gotta blow vapor into it and then claim that it's on fire.
Yeah. Well,
I think it's just attention. I don't think they were trying to make it
was
look bad.
Attention. The guy was like, "I'm a big Xbox fan. I did it as a joke."
Yeah.
I mean, it made all of us turn our heads. So
yeah,
turned my head the other way.
I didn't even see it. I heard about it, but I never even seen the tweet or any of it.
The flash that I had upon realizing, like, oh my god, that is a lot I spoke to. Oh my god, if it was really an electrical fire, it would look nothing like this.
Mm-hmm.
So,
our last question about the Xbox itself comes from Austin Cable. He's over on the on Crossroads, the PlayStation podcast. So if you're interested in PS5, I know LaRon just got one, so you can head on over there to listen to check that out. But Austin says, since the user interface on the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X is the same, does it take away from a new console experience? Yes and no. I was a little I kind of forgot I was playing my Xbox Series X a little bit because everything's literally the same. You know, like the store is the same, the user interface is the same, the settings menu is the same.
So, yeah, I'm gonna say no, and this is why. At this point, yes, I know we all like to get new OSs. Do you install a new OS? And it's not to be a confrontational, rhetorical question. Do you install a new OS every time that you buy a new graphics card? And the answer, I think, for 99.99% of the world is going to be no. I really liken these consoles to like you're upgrading your graphics card. Like you're getting a PC upgrade. I actually really like the cohesion between the two because if I needed to jump back, then that would be great.
Yeah.
Which the first couple days I was doing to do transfers and whatnot, and that's still all we had hooked up in the bedroom. That of course was our streaming box in there, but no, I don't think you need. I think the complaints about the controller didn't innovate enough. Then the UI didn't innovate enough. Like, okay, why mess with the best that you've done?
I'm glad
Battery life.
Yeah, I'm glad I like knew how to do literally everything when I turned the box on. I'm not gonna lie.
I liked it. It was the first console that I've owned where I'm not hunting for things.
Yeah.
I instead did my hunting like earlier that day because somehow my camera got turned off and I had to figure out how to turn it back on. And it's in a really obscure setting, but no, I don't think so. Like this is, I saw something, I think it might have been Andrea from What's Good, who said that she kind of thinks of this as like jumping from an iPhone 11 to an iPhone 12, which I don't think I necessarily agree with, but I do agree like this is simultaneously one of the biggest leaps we've taken forward and also like the easiest step to take forward I think we've ever done in gaming, because both Sony and Microsoft largely kept their internal development process the same. There's a reason why they're both full backwards compatible with previous gen or with the last gen, and why Xbox can still produce regular Xbox and 360 backwards compatible titles. It's all built on the same code now, and that's huge.
Yeah,
that lets you port it over. But no, I don't think it's a big deal at all.
I mean, even when I got my Xbox, my excitement, like I don't want to say the peak excitement, but like when I was in the store and they were like wringing it out and getting it, like putting it in a bag for me, I was extremely excited. But as soon as I got home, and as much as I wanted to like celebrate the console or what have you, like my immediate goal was like, I need to unbag this thing, plug it in, and then download Destiny so I can play a game. I like having a different menu and stuff like that, or like upgraded OS. But I want features. I just don't want it to look different, because my goal as soon as I get that on there is like, I want to just play a game. I want to bypass all of that.
My personal conspiracy is that they're going, because Xbox does like 4 UI refreshes a generation, it seems. I think you get a redesign of the UI as early as next fall, once they officially drop support for their games coming to Xbox One. I think that you see them say, okay, hey guys, take a look at this. It's been a beta for a little while. Like preview members have had access to it, but we're going to release it to everyone now. That is, and I mean, we've talked about on Tower Casuals. We feel like the same thing's going to happen with Destiny too. A lot of things are kind of in limbo, and I'm really glad that we're able to so easily pick up from things we're familiar with for new content and new consoles, new electronics. But I definitely also see the side of, at a certain point, that is part of the excitement of a new console. Unless you're a Nintendo console, and up until the Switch, your UIs were awful. I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I
would argue that the Switch's UI is awful in a different way.
Worse.
I would definitely say, though, I think anybody who's making a huge
Their
fuss
store is
about,
good.
the people who are making a huge fuss about the console UI or about the controller, like, really? Like, the Xbox One controller was pretty universally loved, and they simply made it better. That D-pad
I
is
don't want them to change it. I
See,
don't want them to change it.
I think I actually prefer the Xbox One controller over the Series X controller in some ways.
really.
Yeah, and just in like, and maybe it's just because I haven't used the Xbox Series X controller enough. You know, like the D-pad is still like a little. I'm not used to the
Clicky.
weird D-pad that they added to it.
I love it.
The grip
So
on the
much.
back. I don't like controllers with the grip
Love it.
on the back.
I love
See.
it.
Ooh,
Corey's
see, I love
describing
it.
everything that I like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm sure in a week I won't even notice. You know, it's just like I've used the same controller for 3.5 years, right? That Jesse actually turned me on to that one, the gray with the green sticks, Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
I've used it about as long as like we've been
Yeah.
doing this show, and like now I'm switching to this brand new controller with fresh sticks, and you know,
But you don't have to.
I know I don't have to. I have it plugged in as my second
That's what's
controller
great.
now, but
I mean, I guess just my last thing I would say is I like that they took a lot of the features people liked about the Elite controllers and moved them to the regular ones.
yeah.
It didn't cost them anything extra. They're not upcharging them or anything.
Mhm.
And if we're going to sit here and get upset about, oh, you know, controllers staying the same, I mean, look at the Dual Shocks. Up until the Dual Sense that we have now, look at the DualShock controllers. Like, those pretty largely stayed about the same. Like, the light bar notwithstanding, they stayed about the same.
And the
I-
touchpad.
and-
Don't forget
I
about the
have-
touchpad that brought up your
Oh,
map.
what the freaking
Well,
do?
I have a question for you guys though about the controller. How is the stiffness on the joysticks? Is it about the same as the Xbox One, or is it a little bit stiffer?
I'd say it's a little more. I think it's stiffer.
It's a little stiffer.
Although that could just
okay,
be
which I
that I'm
like.
used to
I like.
a controller that's 3.5 years old. Also,
It's not only that; it's also these are brand new controllers. We haven't broken them in nearly as much as we did with the other
Yeah.
controllers.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But like that's one thing I love about my my the Pro or whatever
Elite.
whatever it's called. Yeah, Elite 2 is the like just being able to turn that and make the sticks really stiff.
they were just really smart, and they took some of the features that people really, really like about
Mhm.
the what do you call it? The Elite controller,
Yeah.
and they put them on a common person's controller, I guess, because like I'm not buying an Elite controller. Like I'd like one, but the thought of spending like $150-$200 on a controller nauseates me. So like that's
You could buy
cool
a
that
whole
that's
nother
cool.
console for that almost now.
Or a
You
memory
could
card.
almost- Yeah, you could buy a memory card or an Xbox Series S for that. It's ridiculous. So
I'm honestly still thinking about going to my local pawn shop place and see if they still have the first Elite controller. They had it for $60 only, so
Oh,
I was
wow.
thinking about buying it, but
All right, we're gonna kind of get into just some other things for the show. The stuff we normally answer at the beginning of the show. Greg Osterman III, our boy Greg. Greggy
Greg and
3.
his snack questions have become some of my favorite things about this show.
These are all food questions. People are on the Greg food train.
yes,
He says
the snack train.
I thought Snack Tendo was a Pow Block segment. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
More like Arsenal snacks, am I right?
Nice, Josh. Nice.
I couldn't resist. I both got the S in there too.
Nice. Got it. Nice.
Sorry, snack.
Greg Osterman III, he says, "Hey guys, really appreciate the answers to my dumb food questions. So here's another one. What are your thoughts on cheesecake?"
Cheesecake. Oh,
Pro
delicious.
cheesecake.
Yeah.
Stay away from the Cheesecake Factory and their nonsense. but
Cheesecake
cheesecake's
is
good.
it's an A
Yeah.
it's an A tier dessert. It's not quite
Yeah.
S tier, but it's an A tier. It can go S tier if you have the right crust on it or the
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
flavors. Like, listen, man, pumpkin cheesecake comes around, and I do unspeakable acts for pumpkin cheesecake. Okay, You give me a good Oreo cheesecake.
Oh
things
yeah,
are gonna
Oreo
start to happen.
cheesecake.
Real bad things are going to start. I mean, good things for me, but bad things could start happening.
I'm just gonna say I think Oreo
Get
cheesecake.
real adult real fast.
I'm just gonna say I think Oreo cheesecake is how my wife got pregnant the first time. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Just gonna throw that.
Who made your cheesecake?
Is it the white stuff in the middle?
Oh god. Josh just turns around.
Christ.
Wait, Josh. This will be great for anybody that's listening. Josh, you need to put a mirror on that door so when you turn
so
around,
you can just
I will buy a mirror off Amazon and send it to you.
Yeah, give them the dimensions of that section of the door.
No, don't order it off of Amazon. They might. At least you'll get it before December
Yeah, thanks.
31st.
It might get delayed until 2021, along with Cyberpunk.
Sam Hall writes and he says, "What's the most underappreciated food?"
Oh.
Fortune
Okay,
cookies.
so when we say food, are we saying like a specific food or a food group? Like,
It just says food.
they're
so
not. But would we say like, is it a whole group? Like, are we saying that like tacos are underrated or what? Or
who's
like
underrating a taco?
Mexican as a whole? I don't know. There are horrible people out in this world, Corey.
Well, I don't want to
guess
know those people. People who do
I'm
not like
thinking
tacos.
like a meal. I'm thinking he's just like a specific meal, like
Well, why don't we
Like,
all just
you
say
know,
what
like-
we think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with Joe.
yeah, that's easy enough.
I don't. Somebody want to go first? I don't know.
I'll go first. I think broccoli is severely underrated.
Dude, broccoli, great vegetable.
I'm
You
gonna
love
go
the
one-
fluff.
Cheese on it.
I'm gonna go one further. I think asparagus is underrated.
I agree. I think it's great.
Nope, wrong. It's right where it
Oh.
belongs.
What
Where's
about
that?
what about
In my
Brussels
belly.
sprouts?
In
I
the
love
trash.
Brussels sprouts
are amazing.
If you cook
Y'all are
Sardines.
fucking-
Brussels sprouts correctly,
Y'all
are
and
fucking
they
gross.
flake off. They form those little flaky.
Yeah.
So good.
You put like a
Ugh.
little bit of butter where they get kind of crispy, and you put some Lowry's seasoning salt on there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mustard seed.
Yep.
what?
Sardines and mustard sauce. I mean, it's amazing.
Real good.
Or put it in there's some sardines and some oil with some
Ew.
jalapenos.
Oh.
The sardines all of a sudden.
What?
Hey, I'm telling you,
They had me
they're underrated.
It's got to be it's a Wisconsin thing. It's got to be.
No, there's no cheese in those.
All right, we're moving on before we get more weird. Wilson Myers.
Because I have nothing that can possibly top that. So
Wilson Myers writes in and he says, "Hey guys, what's the most important part of a meal? The appetizer, dessert, the main portion?"
The plate.
Really holds it all together.
I've got two answers here. Okay, we can go
The
the sensible route, or we can go the Josh route.
Let's do the Josh route. I'm
I wanna go
interested in
Josh
this.
route.
The Josh route is the accompanying cocktail. Okay, like you can have a great meal, but what really accents it is your adult beverage of choice. If you don't have the right beer, the right wine, the right custom cocktail, your meal is just not going to be as good as it could possibly be, my friends. Now, the sensible route is every single one of those is equal, because if even one of them falters, you're going to have a shitty meal.
I will extremely personalize my answer as well and say the most important part of the meal is the crust.
The crust.
Because the pizza is all three to me.
Yeah. Look, the
Or
pizza.
pie.
Look, okay, Joe. Since we're on the subject of pizza,
Yeah.
do you like a good dry crust with flavor, or do you like an oily, greasy, just thick, buttery crust?
So, if it's me personally, I like a more hand-tossed, thinner style crust, but a slightly thick. Like when you get to the actual crust part,
Mhm.
is a little bit bigger. More of like a Neapolitan style. It's just like almost like a naan, where it's just like kind of like.
Mamma mia!
There you go. But I would say less of the oily.
Mhm.
I do a little drizzle of olive oil on top. but that's about the extent of the oil.
I enjoy dry crust with like when I used to work at Domino's, it was like a hand toss, like when we do the hand toss stuff, like we would run it through like some cornmeal, and it was kind of like eating delicious sandpaper, I guess you would say, on the bottom.
Domino's does taste like sandpaper on the bottom. Can confirm. I'm pretty sure I could sand my desk down with a piece of that cheese pizza. But did you ever like toss the dough around?
Yeah. My cousin
was it like that episode of The Office where Michael Scott does that and he hits the ceiling fan and it just flies across the room? Was that an accurate to life experience for you, Corey?
Love it.
No, but I did throw it high up that it got stuck to the ceiling and it fell down onto like the protective window where like customers come in and like stand behind.
Dude, you just like you like yeeted that across the restaurant?
Kinda. I mean, yeah, kinda. It was. Look,
dude, he Jotun the pizza dough.
Look, it was. I was young. Okay, it was. I was trying to impress people with my skills of tossing pizza, which, by the way, does not impress anybody. Okay, just it doesn't, especially when you work at a Domino's, right? It just doesn't impress anybody. But
I mean, listen, we all made mistakes in food service when we were young. Mine was eating a chicken tender, and our big boss walked in for the arena, and he looked at me. He just looked at me, and without skipping a beat, it's my first day of work. He goes, "The fuck are you doing?" And I just walked away from him and put the chicken tender in my pocket and kept walking.
In your pocket.
He's like, "Where's that kid going? Go get him back!" And I like went and stood in the big walk-in fridge and like just stood in the back of it. And my supervisor comes in and is like, "All right, come on, Josh, the fuck are you doing? Come on, get out there. Jack wants to talk to you." And I was like, "All right, just let me finish this chicken tender." She's like, "No, you can't finish the chicken tender. Throw it away and like dust out your pockets. Throw away the evidence."
That's insane.
Yeah,
It was the first time in 2 years he had walked into the kitchen. Apparently,
that's funny.
We like when I was working at the restaurant. I think the stupidest thing that I did was me and my friend like took the broken pieces of crayons from out on the front like area for the kids, and I was like putting it into like the butter, the little empty butter, like where you get those little square butter packets, and I would put them in there and then set them inside the dishwasher, and it was melting crayons into molds. Like in there just for the hell of it, just
when
because
we used to go clean the sweets out at the arena, we'd go in there to some of these places with vegetable trays. And listen, whenever you put out a vegetable tray, whether it's at a fancy place or a non-fancy place, nobody eats the cherry tomatoes ever. Like they go uneaten, they look bad. So we were taking them, and we're up on the third level of suites. And we're throwing them down at the ice for the hockey arena. We're trying to hit them in like some of the circles or like the logos and like assigning point values if you can make it onto the ice. Security just like stood there. They're watching these tomatoes just rain down because we're sitting with our backs to the wall and just hurling them over our shoulders. So like you're just seeing a hand pop up apparently and like a handful of tomatoes go flying. We did this for weeks on end, and then finally somebody got smart and left the broadcast cameras on, and they were like scanning, and you just see like fistfuls of tomatoes come flying out of this suite, and they're like, "That's it, those are the guys," and you just like. We both just like threw our hoods up on our hoodies and took off running.
Wow.
So to this day, the tomato bandits have never been caught.
Oh my god.
I hope my former boss is listening to this. Seth, if you see that I post this, I love you. I did not mean to cause you any problems, but I was the tomato bandit and the chicken finger person.
Chicken finger in your pocket. That's a Frank Reynolds move if I ever heard.
Listen, I was 18. I was afraid of losing my first real job. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna get fired on my first night."
You were gonna get rid of the chicken tender.
You're gonna eat the evidence.
I didn't know what to do. I just shoved it in my pocket and walked away.
I love the thought of you on the like Who Wants to
This
Be
guy
a
looked like
Billionaire set.
Carmine Falcone from Batman Begins, okay?
The lights go down. You're sitting face to face with another person, or like you get to keep your job or chicken tender, and like the music's like dun 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 dun. You're like, I don't know, that chicken tender looks pretty good.
It's like that. It's like that last episode of The Mandalorian where.
Whoa, spoilers. Whoa.
Yeah, when they eat the.
No, I'm not. I didn't say anything, and if you haven't seen it, it won't make any sense. But if you have,
By the
will.
way, this season of The Mandalorian, very good.
So good.
Very good.
I did not expect them to have an Arby's tie-in. That was weird, but I'll go with it.
Oh.
Just go with it. All right. Well, we've got about 10 or 15 minutes left here. Let's wrap the show with what we've been playing. Joe, I'm going to go your way first.
I have played 2 games, Destiny, Beyond Light for probably 90% of the time that I've put on the Xbox so far. And the other 10% I've played the new Call of Duty, multiplayer only because it's 120 frames a second. You can switch back and forth between ray tracing, but you have to choose whether you're doing ray tracing or 120 frames a second. So I haven't even tried ray tracing. If I play through the campaign, I'll probably turn off the 120. But that's all I've been playing. Destiny is, we've talked about this online, and you guys talked about, but like, I like it. I like Beyond Light so far. I have a feeling like there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline for it, but that's going to be my jam for probably another week or so. Next week, I'll probably dive into Master Chief once it gets the update. What's that, 17th, I think it comes out?
Yeah, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, one
Tuesday.
of those days, Tuesday.
Yeah, I'll probably jump in then.
So when you guys are listening to this on podcast services, it'll be live.
There you go.
How is Call of Duty, by the way?
I've only played the multiplayer, but I really like. I mean, it's exactly what you think it is. It feels very like the last Call of Duty in a lot of ways, but there's a momentum, and it feels so much faster than the previous Call of Duty, in a really good way. I like how it feels. It feels like there's more of a weight to things. I like it. I'm really digging it. I played a lot of the beta though. Probably way too much.
Nice. Jesse, we're gonna go your way next. Are you still playing Watch Dogs?
I haven't played a whole lot of it though this week. Actually, before the show I played some Trials for a little bit just because if you like it's Trials Rising. If you like like just crazy, weird, fun games, like Trials Rising is such a good game for that. Especially like Burnout, like the old Burnout games. Like if you like that kind of stuff, just the fun, like crazy nonsense. I was playing this one level where all it is you're riding on the bike and then you got to drive into the exploding barrels and then try to aim your guy up with the next exploding barrel to just try to see how far you can blow them up down the line. And so like it just keeps on you just keep on trying to hit the next exploding barrel and just see how far you can blast them, and that's all the map is. That one thing is just seeing how far you can get them to go. So like I was just playing that for a little bit. And like I've been playing like Mortal Shell. If you like Dark Souls type games or whatever, definitely give that a try. Mortal Shell, it's pretty decent, and I like the changes. Watch Dogs played a little more of. I didn't play too much of it though this week, so I'm kind of waiting now. It sucks though because that's the only thing that sucks is I don't know how long I'm waiting to be able to finally play these and on the next console, but But yeah, like the nice thing with Watch Dogs though is literally every single person that you can recruit is basically is just done like 2 more side missions that you can do to recruit them, sometimes more than that. And since everyone can be recruited, like literally the side missions on that game are infinite, because you could just keep on just doing that and play, thousands of hours and never even actually play the story. in theory. So I've just kind of been doing more stuff like that basically on that game, stuff that doesn't really matter a whole lot. And just, but still I'm finding it fun. It's fun just traversing through the world and just like finding weird things going on, from, people playing the saxophone in like the middle of, some kind of area, to people sitting down playing hippie guitar music and just sitting and listening to them play music or whatever. Like it's got some of those things similar to like what GTA 5 has, like where there's just weird things going on in the world that you can just kind of come across. My favorite thing to do though is to wait and like look for when like the police and stuff are pushing people down to the ground and handcuffing them. And then they go to call in the, like what's going on. And then I just go run up to the people and then unhandcuff them and then stop the cop from being able to chase them back down and handcuff them again, because they won't go after you if you do that, which is kind of weird that you can just go and unhandcuff someone and they don't go after you then. But it's just fun to just mess with people in that world like that. So like I was taking a drone the other day and I was just chasing after a guy and running into him with the drone, and he'd be like, damn robots, and he's like getting all frustrated with it, and I'd just like come and crash dive into him and knock him to the side, and just screwing around in that. And that game is a lot of fun. Like I just honestly, like when it comes to open world games, like they usually are the games that will get the most attention for me. Breath of the Wild, Far Cry 5, like this game now, and it just has something to it that the other 2 Watchdog games just didn't really quite have. And I mean, I liked both of those, but yeah, this is the game that I'm really looking forward to playing on my Series X though, is Watch Dogs. So, nice. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's some other stuff, but I haven't gotten too far into those games to really even talk about them, honestly.
Yeah. Cool. Josh, I know you've been playing a lot.
I mean, obviously Destiny, but you guys continue to tower casuals to hear me gripe at the community about that one. I finished Gears Force campaign last week. That was a really cool ending with the helicopter blades. Really enjoyed that. Played the first couple missions of Tactics. Not sure if I dig it quite yet. It's a cool concept. Not sure if it's for me, but I like seeing franchises expand into other genres. But the one I want to talk about is Bright Memory. And I want to preface this with, I'm about 15 minutes into this game. Game is a very nice way to put it. It is an hour long. I thought that some of the issues I'd heard about with the Series X port of this game were a little over-exaggerated. I was like, there's no way it's that bad. My friends, it is that bad. Our friend Luke Lore, the Insipid Ghost, earlier today described it as a pretty-looking $7 tech demo that also features an insane amount of stuttering and screen tearing. I have never heard a more true statement about a video game, I don't think. This is a really big bummer for me. This is a game I've been looking forward to since Bright Memory Infinite was announced back in May at the Xbox show. And honestly, playing 15, I'll finish the demo out, or I'll finish the hour of gameplay out, because I do think the gameplay loop is interesting when it works. I had multiple instances where I've been aiming down sights and it gets stuck. It will not unstick. That to me in an FPS seems like a very fundamental thing that should not have made it out of QA. If you are aiming down sights, it's getting stuck, and you can't get out of it either. You have to wait for the game to decide to let you out of it at that point, which means you cannot use abilities, you cannot dodge. It has already led to me dying 3 times that way. It is borderline infuriating. Sometimes your abilities won't activate sometimes, even though you have the cooldown already done on them. But when the gameplay loop works, it is an awesome experience. I love the combat in it. When the graphics aren't tearing or stuttering, it is a drop-dead gorgeous game. It's a very fluid game, but right now I don't know if I can buy Bright Memory Infinite at launch if it's not fixed, because it's bad. It's bad. And I'm done using the excuse. Oh well, it's launched. They could patch it in like a week or two. No, I'm not using that excuse anymore going forward. This generation, I simply can't do it. If you're going to be a game like this and you're going to promote yourself as a next gen only experience, you need to work at launch. Delay it if you have to. There's no reason that a $7 title like this could not have been delayed by a month or two to make sure that the technical glitches were worked out, to make sure that something as simple as aiming down sights did not stick. And no, it's not because otherwise it would have been doing it on Destiny for the last week. So yeah, just really disappointing. Beware if you go to get Bright Memory, you will have a visually gorgeous experience when the graphics are working correctly, or if you're playing on a 4K monitor. You will have some awesome mixture of like a hollow sword and a shotgun, an EMP, a pistol, I don't know what else you would call it, like an assault rifle. It's some of the best gunplay that I've experienced in a game. Like, that's not a Bungie title, so that's, or Bungie or Infinity Ward or Respawn. Like, outside of the top, like the 3 god tier studios when it comes to that, I feel like this is a step below. This was made by one guy, but this is very much of concept. I really, really, really hope the full experience that he's been working on, Infinite, is way more polished than this, and it should be. A full studio is working on that one. So that's what I've been playing.
Nice. Yeah, that kind of sucks. I was like really waiting. I was waiting for your kind of review on that.
I was gonna play it on stream tomorrow, and I don't know if I'm going to now because I have a feeling it's gonna end up with me rage quitting. If it freezes up, I'll be again. And keep in mind, I said I played about 15 to 20 minutes of this. I'm probably about 5 minutes deep into the content because it's frozen, or the gun is stuck on me enough times that I've died. It has not been a positive experience, but I like everything else about it. It is a really cool idea. I think it's a really unique looking game, but holy crap, I might not touch it until they patch it. And God knows when that's going to happen. So
right. For me, I mean, I've been playing a lot of Destiny, just trying to, get that light level up. So, I've dabbled in a few other games like Gears 5. I played at 120 frames a second on my huge TV in the living room, and I'm like, I had a headache at how fast that thing was moving because I had never played anything that was that smooth at that high of a frame rate, like, ever. So, I mean, it's Gears 5. It works. It looks real pretty. Batista in the campaign is real weird. So, I switched it back because as much as I like Batista, I think if they were going to use him, they should just remake the other games with him in it as Marcus. But at this point, what are you going to do?
The Gears Batista.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, seriously. So I played a little bit of that. I kind of just jumped around playing different things. Forza looks incredible.
It looks like a brand new game.
Yeah.
It looks and plays, like I said earlier, it looks and plays like it's a brand new title.
Yeah.
Holy God.
Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh.
Load up the Lego expansion, and it's one of, in full 4K 60 frames, is one of the most ridiculous things I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. So Forza looks amazing. Gears Tactics, I played a little bit of the first mission, but we were having some issues with some things around here today. So with our power going out. So also the Browns were on today, so I didn't really play a whole lot.
I wish I would have skipped watching the Seahawks game to play.
Yeah. I saw your tweet. I'm afraid to ask.
Every single year we start talking about Russell Wilson as an MVP candidate. He does something stupid like throwing 3 picks in a game. You can't do that, man. You just can't do that. I don't care if you are on pace to throw the most touchdowns in a season outside of Peyton Manning. Like, you can't do that. You literally cannot do that and still win the MVP. It does not work that way. This happens every single time. He gets gassed by about half, 2/3 of the way through the regular season, and it's because he doesn't have help on offense. And this year he has no help on defense. Like, no offensive line, no defense. It's the worst. It is the absolute worst.
Yeah.
I'm mad.
Yeah,
I'm real mad. We have dropped 3 straight games. 3. Or excuse me, not 3. We lost 1, we won 1, and then we lost 2. 2 of those are divisional games. I'm upset. We now no longer lead the division, and we started out 5-0 this year. 5-0. I'm upset.
I know this is controversial here, but like the way you feel right now is how I felt for those last couple of years of the Packers. Like when we had Brett Favre, and like he would just throw it to the other team. He would just throw it as hard as he could, seamlessly just wherever he felt like, and then someone would intercept it, and then he would just laugh at the camera like, oops. And I could not stand him.
Like, he's clearly annoyed because when he's on fire, he's arguably the second best quarterback in the league. Like, he's 1 or 2, depending on how much you love Patrick Mahomes. But this is getting ridiculous. Come on, get my man an MVP.
Welcome to Trash Talk.
Yes. So I was glad when
I'm going to get very upset. Someone get Logan in here.
This is like, I can finally enjoy watching the Packers play again, because I just could not stand watching them when Favre was the quarterback for those last couple of years. And then he went to Minnesota, and look at what he did. Nothing.
Browns beat the Texans today, 10-7. It was a really boring
You beat
game.
a team with 2 wins. Congratulations.
It was a really boring game to watch, I gotta tell you. The Browns have to be like the worst 6-3 team of all time. I gotta tell you.
Detroit.
Yeah. I'm just saying, man.
Bad.
I'm just saying. Like, I don't know how we're 6-3.
Yeah, I don't.
But at this point,
I don't know how we're 6-3.
Just think about that, Josh. The Seahawks have the same record as the Cleveland
The Seahawks
Browns.
We literally have statistically the worst defense of all time right now. We are on pace to give up at least 10 to 15% more yards per game than the next worst defense to ever play the game. That is how abysmal our secondary is. We make every single quarterback look like Patrick Mahomes when they play us. Every single defense looks like Patty Mahomes. Not even Bobby Wagner can save us this year. It's a dark time in the Pacific Northwest, my friends.
Oh man! So
I'm inconsolable. It's bad. It's bad. It's going to be another early exit this year.
Wow.
Brexit.
But just to wrap a couple things up, I played a little bit of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. It loads like a dream. Like, you load up the game, and after you hit the title screens and you load into a level, it's like it's almost instant. Like
Yeah.
it's literally almost instant.
Like, wait, I'm not ready yet.
I know.
You start rolling forward.
Yeah, and
It's
then
like, wait.
then I think the most disappointing game I loaded up was Assassin's Creed Odyssey, honestly, because it's locked at 30 frames,
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
and like once you hit that 60 frames threshold, you can't go back.
Yeah, it's tough.
I've tried. Like I was like, man, it won't be a big deal. You can't, and even Destiny is like, man, after playing Gears and a little bit of Halo, it's like, man, I cannot wait till December for this update because
Yes.
30 frames is at least Destiny's a smooth 30 frames. Assassin's Creed, however,
I have had no frame rate drops, and I'm so happy.
yeah, it actually feels
It's like having a mini PC for this to happen.
yeah, it's I was really disappointed in Assassin's Creed Odyssey because like I wanted to play a little bit more before I got Valhalla, and like I don't know if I'm going to be able to because it just feels almost worse than it did on the Xbox One, in some ways, and it's just like it loaded up fast, it loaded up nice, it looks great, but like there's something that just doesn't feel right about it. So.
Yeah. I think that's the thing though too, is like with the way that games were made on last generation versus how they'll be made now. Like just some things are just gonna feel weird. Like those menu screen things, the loading screens in between stuff where it will load up and you can't even read anything it says anymore because it's it's downloading the game so quickly.
Yeah.
Or loading it, I should say, so quickly that you can't even read anything in between anymore. So it's like, like, why do we even have those? But you can't just say that because that's just something that's baked into the game. And, but those things I think are going to disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also loaded up Rise of the Tomb Raider, and just like the Digital Foundry video, that game is better now.
Buttery smooth.
Yeah. It's, yeah. So, but
I
we're
still need to play the last one, so maybe I'll wait and finish
it's-
it on there.
It's really good. I actually downloaded both of those games because I would like to clean up some achievements I did not finish up. So, anyways, we're going to wrap it up here. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. You can catch Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast, live on Sunday nights on twitch.tv/Arsenal X podcast, or on your podcast service of choice and YouTube on Tuesday mornings. If you have questions, you can email us at arsenalxpodcast@gmail.com or tweet at us at arsenalxpodcast. Yeah. So, Josh, where can we find you?
Every Thursday night on the Tower Casuals right here on this channel, or posting up on Fridays to your podcast service of choice, as well as on Twitter and Twitch at @Josh_Finn with 2 N's as always. We're going to play a lot of Destiny this week. We might suffer through some bright memory depending on how much I hate myself tomorrow morning. If not, we're just going to play a whole lot of Tetris Effect and simulate being baked together.
Maybe that's what I'll play tonight is Tetris
Nice.
Effect. I haven't had a chance to play it yet.
Dude, it's so good. I have not been this in love with a puzzle game since Luminous on the Vita.
Oh man, Luminous was
Bit of-
such a great game.
I bought a PSP, and that was the first game I got. I didn't know how good it was. I just got it because people were like, you like really unique music and you like puzzle games. You should get it. I am not ashamed to say I bought a Vita almost exclusively for another Luminous game.
Yeah.
Speaking of Luminous,
No.
that Switch port was not great.
I have the port. I actually have it on the Switch. I really like it.
Oh, it just didn't feel responsive when I played it. As responsive
If
as
you want a true Luminous experience, download it onto your phone.
Hmm.
The free one on phones is fantastic.
Oh boy.
So the Tetris Effect, is it the same game as the PlayStation 4 one, just with added features, or
Yeah,
the
it's got
visuals?
The multiplayer is exclusive, a timed exclusive
Okay.
for now.
Okay, so the visuals during the songs when you're playing like the story mode and stuff are all the same as the PS4 one?
As far as I'm aware.
Okay.
So
I don't know. Like I'll be honest. That is another game that I played, and I was a little underwhelmed with that game.
I mean,
Like,
it's
I love
You're
Tetris.
crazy.
it's pretty
it's an
Tetris.
amazing
What do you want?
Tetris game. It's an amazing Tetris game, but I'm talking the songs,
Oh.
like the songs that that are playing during the music, or
You're
because
crazy.
There's only one song that you need in Tetris, and that's Music A
yeah, but
from the
that
Game
one's
Boy
not
version.
in there.
Okay.
But it's not in there, is it?
I don't know. I
It's-
haven't played it yet.
I
so
don't know. I liked the jazz song and the first song on Tetris Effect, and that was it so far.
Jesse, where can we find you?
You can find me almost everywhere as Phantom NXS, including now soundclick.com. If you search Phantom NXS, you will find music there that's better than the music on Tetris Effect.
Joe, where can we find you?
I'm gonna ask everyone to check those show notes for my information. Classic.
Classic. You can find me at I am Corey in HD on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me at Corey in HD on Twitch. As I just realized when I was switching some things around that I had the wrong Twitch link in there for like probably 100 and something episodes of all of our shows. So, whoops. It's fixed now. So you can check me out there. Probably starting this week. I also want to thank everybody so much for watching and or listening. Check out our family of shows. Nintendo Power Block, Crossroads, the PlayStation Podcast, Tower Casuals, the Destiny Podcast, and of course, the Boss Rush Podcast. Also, remember to like, subscribe, share, rate, and review wherever you catch this show. A good review and a good rating might get you an entry into something soon. So, I want to thank everybody so much for watching. Until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye. Hope you find your dad.
Whoa, that got dark.
Bye.
It's on.
What's the matter? You hurt?
A brawl